Hello, everyone. There is this topic I've been meaning to talk about, which is diversity. Diversity means differences. It could be difference in the people, difference in how you like things to be done, difference in where you come from, the language you speak, the food, the type of food you want to eat, like culture. It could be just in families. It could be the way different people see things, like different perspective. And in our community, diversity is something very important because if we understand that people are different and they think differently and they behave differently, they want different things for themselves, then we will learn how to respect people differently. So in Canada, we have people who come from different places, immigrants who come from Cameroon, Nigeria, black people, we have people from Asia, and even people who come from the same culture, they don't like the same things. They also have different perspectives. So for example, people who come from Cameroon, they didn't grow up in one household. And even when they grow up in one household, they have different minds. They think differently. Some people like me, I grew up in Cameroon, then I went to China, and then I came to Canada. And this gives me like a lot of different experiences that will change or shape the way that I think or the way that I have my perspective, different from another woman who comes from the same cultural background as me. The same people who come from Cameroon, there were some who grew up in wealth, I could say. And there are some that grow up in the farms like I did. And so our perspective would still be different. So it doesn't mean that because people look the same, they have the same skin color, they would have the same ideas or they would think the same. Even when you have children of your own, you cannot decide the mind of a child. Children have the way they think, the way they want their things being done. They have different colors that they prefer. They prefer to play different games, and that's how they grow up to be mature adults who are different from their brothers and sisters. So when we talk about diversity, the aspect of respect comes in, because when you understand diversity, you learn to respect people more than just feeling like people should like the things you like or people should have the same plans that you have for yourself. People have different goals too. And in order to achieve these goals, they also have different approaches. How do they go about achieving their goals? What are they thinking about, what they want for their future? So these things are things that we need to really take into consideration when we have relatives or friends. We have to learn to not force them to like what we like or to do the things we want to do with our lives. We need to know that everybody is unique and they think differently and they have different goals. They have different approaches to achieving their goals, and we just have to respect their boundaries. There may be some things that people have in common, but it doesn't mean that they must have everything in common. For Canadian kids that grow here, they live in households that their parents are Africans, and then they go to schools, they integrate, and they learn the Canadian culture. That doesn't mean that these children will behave like Canadian kids, because their parents will still instill in them some cultural values from their background or heritage, which will make them very different from Canadian kids who were born and grow up in Canada in Canadian homes. So I call it Canadian homes, just not because they are, I don't know how to describe it, but then when we put two cultures together, like the African and the Canadian culture, the child becomes different also from the child that is born by Canadian parents who grew up in Canada and learned the Canadian values. So it comes to very tiny things like decision making when you are with friends or with with colleagues. Sometimes decision making becomes so difficult because most people would want things done their way. If you are like in the leadership position, then you need to also always understand that the ideas that your the employees may be bringing forth could be like stemming from where they come from and their background or their experiences. Listen carefully. Do not dismiss ideas that are brought by people because you think they are not right. Just pay attention, listen, ask more questions to understand like what are their rationale for bringing this idea. They may have better ideas than we may think if we just prejudge or just assume that, oh, these people don't know what they are talking about. So it is important to always respect people, respect their ideas, respect where they come from. And so if we do this, I believe that the world would be a better place for everyone to live in. Have you ever come across a situation where someone brings forth an idea, and you feel like this is totally wrong? Those feelings comes from within. It is not like you didn't want to acknowledge the ideas, but sometimes we feel like we can decide what is right or what is wrong for other people. So we should learn to ask questions. If you have had an experience where you brought up an idea and somebody just shut you down and tell you you are wrong, please comment in the section below and let's share our ideas and learn from each other. Thank you for listening. Just rambling.